Hey everyone, this is First Warning Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Pam. Just wanted to do a quick update on what's going on across the area. We've got the rain moving in. I was actually pretty happy with the forecast. It came in a little quicker than probably I thought last night. I probably think more like 8 o'clock. Came in around 6:37, so maybe an hour quicker. But overall, things are working out as we expected. Now, it's not a nice day out there, and temperatures are all above the freezing mark. But we're seeing mostly rain, sleet mix across the northern Piedmont, especially the leading edge. It's the mountains that have me a little worried. You can see in Boone, it's 30, in Jefferson, it's 30 degrees, and even parts back here where we don't have readings, I suspect temperatures are at or near the freezing mark. And the reason that concerns me is when I look at the Boone camera, we'll pop this back up. This is from resort cams. I'm seeing ice on the lens here. This is freezing rain that's falling in the Boone area. And that's always a concern because the cold air can get trapped in the valleys up there in Boone and the other high mountain valleys. And as it rains down into that cold, shallow layer, you end up with ice. And that's what we're starting to see in the Boone area and up in parts of Ashe County and around Jefferson. Now, in Hickory, I'm not sure this is all snow. There is some snow reports mixing in here, but I flip over to the radar, and the thing I notice is this bright band here. And the bright band, what this is, right in here, and it's pretty clearly to see, this isn't real heavy precipitation per se. A lot of times in the summer you see this and you think, okay, that's just heavy precipitation or a downpour. What this is ice pellets or a melting snowflake is denser, it's harder, it's something easier for the radar beam to bounce off of versus a raindrop. A raindrop actually will absorb and some energy will pass through, so you get a softer return unless you get a whole bunch of big fat raindrops. In this case, we've got solid objects in the air, so it's likely a melting snowflake or a sleet pelt. The other thing you notice I put on here, these ice pellets, these are the MPing reports from an app. It's a great app. It's a crowdsourcing app that the government puts out. University of Oklahoma, the Severe Storms Lab is doing it to help verify precipitation types. So people are actually, sending in via their phone what they're seeing. And everywhere you see pink, you're seeing sleet pellets or ice pellets in this case. It's just sleet. It's a raindrop that refreezes on the way down. The one nice thing is the air temperatures east of the mountains are all above freezing, so no road issues at all. It's really the mountains that are going to be a concern. Another thing I look at quite a bit is something we call wet bulb temperature. You can see in the mountains here, the wet bulb temperatures right in here are around freezing or below freezing. And what the wet bulb temperature is essentially the temperature that the air can be cooled down to through evaporation. So basically, if you think about, really dry air's in place and the temperature's up here well above freezing, if you throw moisture in there, it evaporates, and that actually lowers the air temperature, and the dew point comes up, and they kind of meet in this middle ground that we call the wet bulb temperature. So if the wet bulb temperature is 32 or below, you can actually cool the air down to freezing or lower through this evaporative cooling process. So these are areas that could eventually see ice or snow continue because of that process. Now, the good news later today, it's not going to be a great day. As this moisture moves in, the storm develops, warmer air moves in aloft, which will change most of this all to a cold rain. The other thing I'm watching are these big storms down on the Florida Panhandle, because oftentimes these storms down here will block the inflow of moisture to the north. I don't think it's going to be a huge factor because, to be honest with you, there's just enough overrunning to keep the moisture going, and the upper level system's still back here while the surface low is developing down here and cranking up the coast. This will be a pretty significant system once it gets going, and something we'll keep an eye on. Another check of some of the cameras. This is our Beach Mountain camera, snowing like crazy up there, whiteout conditions. Another stop, I would check up towards the Statesville area. I've been keeping an eye on this camera just to kind of see what's going on up there in Statesville. I've got a couple Twitter reports of some snow up there, and so far I've seen just rain, but I'm not going to be shocked if we see a brief burst of snow up there, so we'll let that load. And you can see it basically looks like rain, but there might be a little bit of snow or sleet mixing in. So that's the latest on the situation. No travel issues on the roads, as ugly as it's going to be, but please, if you're in the mountains, be very cautious. The temperature might hover around freezing most of the day, and things could get really icy the later we get into the afternoon. Of course, we'll have you covered online, on air, on our app. I'll be on the air starting today at 4, 5, and 6 on NBC Charlotte. I'll see you then.